Life can be grand and it can be cruel. Sometimes things work out just as you planned it, but most times they don't. I have spent my time chasing this picture perfect life, acquiring the things that I thought would make me happy, but yet still feeling unaccomplished, just blah, like there's no meaning to it. I learned that I was chasing this false view of happiness. And it wasn't until I really just stepped back to look and I said, Chaun, you are going about this all wrong. When I hit my 40s, that is when I decided to really take a deep dive into this thing called happiness. And so that's what I'm sharing with you today. The 4 tips that I implemented for myself to find and create that happiness that I have been striving for. Side note, it is a forever work in progress. Let's get to it. Hey, it's Chaun Vaughn and this is my 40 plus life. Today we are talking about all things happiness. What it takes to live a life full of joy, peace, contentment, and happiness. I will say that happiness gets a false outlook. For most people, we believe that happiness is all about the stuff, money, right? But it's really not. And I'm going to tell you, the world, social media, all of this stuff has played a big part into warping our minds into thinking that in order to be happy, you have to have the stuff. You have to have the fancy stuff to show off. When I had the nice car, I had the nice house, I had stellar clothes, I had the stuff, but I still wasn't happy. And do you know why I wasn't happy? Because stuff doesn't create happiness. But it is when I implemented these 4 tips that I'm sharing with you today, it's when I truly experienced happiness. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer out there before I start, because I don't want you guys to think that these 4 tips that I'm sharing is the end all be all, right? No, it's not. These are the tips that I actually implemented for myself. And I know that there are so many other ways to truly find the happiness that you desire, that joy, that peace. But this is what I did, and hopefully this will help to generate or put you on the path to discovering the happiness that you desire for you. Tip number 1, love yourself. Now, I know for some of you all that may sound very cliche, right? But to be honest, a lot of us, including myself, we don't really understand the depth of what loving ourselves looks like and what that means. For me, once I dived into this, to begin to love myself meant that I needed to put aside those high expectations that I had of myself, including the unrealistic expectations that other people had of me. And I just learned to be who I was at that moment and accept what that looks like. The way that I uncovered the real Chaun Vaughn was by carving out some time to focus just on me. Now, for some people, that could look like meditation on a daily basis, or some people actually use yoga. I decided to utilize my time in devotion and prayer, reading of the word and speaking with God. The reason why I did this was because I knew I couldn't do this by myself. And who knows me better than God? Because He created me. And so through reading His word and spending that time in prayer, I was able to uncover a lot of things about myself so that I can learn to truly and fully love myself. That also meant recognizing my flaws, adjusting and correcting them if necessary. But most importantly, y'all, learning to actually forgive myself. Come on, somebody. A lot of us can't really love ourselves because we haven't forgiven ourselves for something that we did long ago. We are holding on to something within that is not helping us to live our best life, that is not allowing us to live our best life. But when I learn to forgive myself and know that I am still worthy, I am now able to love myself. When you love yourself, you become comfortable in who you are, and you know that every conversation, every deed does not have to center around you. And then, and only then, you reach a point where you have begun to learn to love yourself. Tip number 2 is service. Y'all, I am at my happiest when I am not just focused on myself. I am at my happiest when I am loving and doing for others. Now, that may look different for some of you. Some of you may show your service through financially helping someone. Some of you may show it through volunteering your time. It is different for each of us. For me, it's when I can pour into others by way of my teachings around leadership, or by going home and helping my seasoned family members with something as simple as technology, or simply cooking a meal. My happiness stems from taking the focus off of me and putting that energy and love to those around me. I am on top of the world when I am making an impact in the lives of others. You get a different sense of joy when you are giving versus always looking to be given to. So service is a big component into walking the path of a happier life. Whatever that looks like for you, do that. However you serve, in what capacity, there is no little way to serve, no big way to serve. As long as you are impacting someone else's life, then you are on that path to living a happier life for you. Tip number 3 is to simply be still. Yes, life can become very overwhelming. You can get tired and burnt out. You get frustrated. That's life, right? To keep that peace that you desire, that happiness, you just need to just stop and be still. Allow your body to rest and adjust to whatever it is that you're experiencing in that moment, what you may be feeling in that moment. Take the time to literally pause and be still. As women, as humans, I think a lot of times we have a tendency to just keep pushing full steam ahead instead of taking time to understand what we may be feeling in the moment, what we're experiencing, and then that just leads to a continued string of unhappiness. So just stop, rest, be still, and just be in the moment so that you can understand that moment, so that you usher in healing for that moment. Baby, as I tell myself all the time, this too shall pass. Whatever this is, whatever is making you overwhelmed, whatever is causing that anxiety, that exhaustion, don't ignore those signs. You just need to take that moment to revive yourself. However you do. Being still could simply be going to lay down to take a rest, or it could be sitting in a quiet place just reflecting, or it could be something as simple as going for a walk outside in nature so that you're able to reconnect on a spiritual level. So just be still. There is nothing wrong with taking that rest and that time to just reflect on how you're feeling in that moment so that you can now shift to what will make you happy. Okay, and my final tip for living a happier life is do what lights you up. You heard me. Do what lights you up. And when I say do what lights you up, that could literally be your career. If your career makes you happy, continue to do that. If there's a hobby that makes you happy, do that. But the key to really shifting your mood and being happy is doing what lights you up. Y'all, I love teaching. I love entertaining. All of those things, they make me happy. But there is one thing that I can do that will shift my mood every single time, and that is singing. That's why I'm called the karaoke queen. Because singing makes me happy. I can tell you, I will be here at home and I can be in a funk, not feeling good. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out a speaker, a microphone, get my phone, and I am going to have me a karaoke concert for one. That's right. And 20 songs later, I am feeling so much better that I did not allow myself to stay in that depressive state, to stay in that unhappy moment. I brought in that joy, that happiness that I know that I can have simply through doing something that lights me up. What lights you up? And if you don't know the answer to that, then I would suggest that this would be the perfect opportunity for you to dive deep into who you are and discover what will bring you happiness every single time that you do it. That one thing that lights you up. And I would love to know what that is. Please share that in the comments below. Singing is an absolute lifesaver for me. For you, it could be working out. For others, it could be spending time with your pet. But the key here is to make sure that you are doing that thing that no matter what, no matter how you're feeling, it is going to bring joy and happiness to your life every single time. And when you can rely on that, happiness is always near for you. I'm not saying that we are never, ever going to feel unhappy. But achieving a lifestyle of happiness means that we are putting in the work to know ourselves so that when we're feeling down, low, we know exactly what we need to do to shift our mood and bring that happiness to the forefront. So what I don't want you all to do is to make the mistake of thinking that happiness is all about having money, the money, right? Yes, of course, it can create happiness, but it is temporary happiness. And don't make the mistake of forming happiness around your spouse, your friend, a family member. Because when they fail you, then you're left having to pick up the pieces, and that can be a very difficult and hard thing to do. But what I want you to know and understand wholeheartedly, that everything that you need to experience joy, peace, and happiness resides in you. You and you alone are the key to living that dream life, that happy life that you so deserve. As long as you are willing to put in the work to first and foremost learn to love yourself, because we can't do anything if we don't love ourselves first. We can't have a happy life if we do not love ourselves first. And that also means learning to forgive yourself, because you will never fully be able to love yourself if you have not forgiven yourself for the things that you feel that you've done in the past. You are so worthy of everything that you desire, but it starts with loving yourself first. Secondly, being of service. Everything does not have to revolve around you. It does not. The focus does not always have to be on you. As a matter of fact, we have been put here to pour into others, to impact the lives of others. And if we're not doing that, then we are not living a happy and fulfilled life. We are going to have to be of service to those around us. As long as you are serving others in the way that you can serve others, then that is what it's all about. Number 3, be still. There is nothing wrong in stopping, being still, and understanding what is going on with you, because we're not going to have great days all the time. We just need to be able to understand how to get past those days, and that means just taking the time and accepting what it is in that moment. And lastly, number 4, do what lights you up. Whatever lights you up, you do that, because that is where your joy and your happiness can be found. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's a career, whatever you do that lights you up, do that thing. Remember, all of these things are a continued work in progress. But if you are doing them, it will lead to a more meaningful and happy life. Do you have any additional tips that will help others create a happy life? If so, please share them in the comments below. Okay, before we go, you know I cannot leave you without a cocktail recipe, because that is one of the main parts that you're going to see on pretty much all my videos is a cocktail recipe. And today I have rightfully named Happiness in a Glass. All you'll need is 1 ounce of your favorite vodka, 1 ounce of an apple sour pucker, and 1 ounce of Sprite, 7-Up, some lemon lime soda. Pour all of those ingredients into a glass of ice, and then you stir that, and voila, there you have your happiness in a glass. I hope today's discussion resonated with you. It was something that I felt that I really wanted to share, because maneuvering into my 40s, I have really taken a deeper dive into who I am, so that I don't feel unaccomplished, so that I don't feel that my life doesn't have any meaning. I truly want the best for you, as I would love to have the best for myself. And that means having discussions like the one we had today. If it resonated with you, which I hope it did, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends and family. Until next time, I'm Chaun Vaughn, and this is my 40 Plus Life.